Welcome to the Weekly Signal. I'm Lincoln Legacy. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Weekly Signal. I'm Lincoln Legacy. On this show, we don't focus on the distractions. We don't focus on the spin. We don't focus on the clutter. We focus on what really matters, the real signal. Every week, we'll take you through what you should be expecting on that upcoming week, so that you're not surprised when it happens. This show is not for the average mind. It's for those that want to see before they see. So, let's get into it. On the local political scene, across all metros in South Africa, there is definitely a shift. People are no longer focused on who's in power, but rather who can deliver real results. Meanwhile, at the same time, political parties are starting to test themselves. They're starting to see if their narratives and messages are working. They're starting to see if their message is welcomed by residents and citizens across the board. In Johannesburg, for instance, we've seen how the rise of Helen Zille and her online digital campaign is driving those in government to act faster than they would have. So it's interesting to see how the local government elections will turn out. So, on this front, what's the signal that we want you to see? I want you to see that this week, governments, political parties will be focusing on performing rather than staging performances. Prepare to see political parties putting their best feet forward and ensuring that they can ensure that the people see them as the better alternative. Don't expect them to be flimsy. Don't expect them to be clumsy. Expect them to be sharp, because finally, you, the people, are starting to be taken seriously. So, in closing, on the local political shift, expect that service delivery will be on the front lines this week. Not what t-shirts or political colors politicians are wearing, but service delivery. And don't expect to follow the headlines. Expect to follow the signals. And if you still don't get it, then you'll never get it. Moving right along, now let's talk about the important one, the difficult one, the one that's close to home. I'm talking about household economics. With the war that is taking place in the Middle East and the oil war that is taking place, prices are being driven up in all directions. Petrol has increased. Food is increasing. Electricity is on the rise. So that means the household economics is at play. That means the pressure is increasing for every member of the household, both the provider and the non-provider in the household. The provider is feeling the heat that maybe other members of the household are not taking care of what they've been blessed with. The non-provider is feeling even more pressure to provide because the provider is putting more pressure on them. So, what's the solution? The solution is simple. And here's the signal. Increase productivity. Decrease waste. Focus on how to increase financial muscle and financial resources in unconventional ways. So if you're unemployed, the signal for this week is don't look for the conventional ways that humans and South Africans are making money. Figure out what's the one issue on your street, in your community, in your city, in your country, that you, with the little or much resources that you have, can solve simply and be able to charge for it. That's the signal. Now we move to the last signal point for this week's episode, and we take it to the global stage. The global political, geopolitical space is becoming more and more complicated. In the past, especially for emerging markets like South Africa, you simply had to choose left or right, top or down, America or Russia, or China. Now, the landscape has become a little bit more complicated. It's not easy as choosing left or right because there's lots of factors that are involved. You could agree with a global superpower on one issue, but then disagree with them on another cross-referencing issue completely. So then what do? For a country like South Africa, you need leaders that are sharp. So what's the signal for this week? The signal for this week is to expect our leader, President Cyril Ramaphosa, to not really be swift in action. Expect him to take his time. He will not be declaring on global issues prematurely. He will not be loud. He'll be quiet. But expect on a local front, especially on the issue of the GNU, on him to start taking more decisive action because there is a rift there at a GNU level. Expect also on a more provincial issue for President Ramaphosa to start deciding how exactly he will deal with the issue of Gauteng. I'm speaking about ANC Gauteng. Because all the other 8 provinces seem to be very supportive of President Ramaphosa, even on his global standpoints. But in Gauteng, with Panyaza Lesufi, our premier, there seems to be disagreements here and there. But as we move closer to the local government elections of 2026, the signal is expect it to be a showdown. Who's the boss? Is it Ramaphosa or is it Panyaza? Well, that's it from the first ever episode of the Weekly Signal. I'll see you next week with the fresh set of signals that you need to look out for. And remember, keep your mind on God. Keep your heart on the love of your country. And keep your eye on the streets. And remember, the real signal will not be found on the headlines. I'm Lincoln Legacy. Shout out.
Welcome to the Weekly Signal. I'm Lincoln Legacy. Let's dive in.